This is a Channel Africa podcast. You can also get Channel Africa on satellite PAS10, DSTV Audio Bouquet 802, and OpenView Bouquet Channel 628.
Let's talk about the Alkebulan Immigrant Awards now, which is an initiative aimed at highlighting the great things that immigrants are doing here in South Africa. I am joined in studio by two esteemed guests. I'm joined by Debo Mwanjang and Linda Ben to talk to us about this important awards, Alkebulan Immigrant Awards. They are joining us in studio. Debo and Linda, welcome to the show. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you. Good evening.
Thank you. Good evening.
Good evening. Thank you so much for coming through to the studio as we talk about this important Alkebulan Immigrant Awards. Just give us a sense, Debo, about these particular awards. How did they come about?
I think it's important we lay a good foundation of where we started. I think myself and Linda Ben, we're part of an organization called Junior Chambers International.
Mm-hmm.
Junior Chambers International is an organization built around impact, social impact. It's all about going into the community and being able to contribute to change, to be the change agent in society.
Mm-hmm.
So I think once we graduated from Junior Chambers International, we found ourselves looking at where we are as a country and asking ourselves, what can we do that would allow us to celebrate and recognize the contributions of people who are not South African but who call South Africa home. Then we brainstormed a few ideas and we said, you know what? It is time we host an award ceremony that recognizes the contributions of every immigrant who is legally resident in South Africa. And those refugees who are also legally resident in the country.
Yeah.
So I think that is where the idea grew. And that's where we are right now. Yeah.
And how far or how long have these awards been in existence?
It's actually quite new. We've started a few months ago, so this is
okay.
This is gonna be our inaugural year.
Yeah.
With the awards. Well, the actual ceremony is taking place on the 23rd of November. However, maybe just to add on what Tebo said, I think at the core of everything is that we've been influenced by our travel experience as a team. We've had an opportunity of traveling the world, and through our travels, we've received an experience where we were warmly received by our hosts. And I mean, from a personal perspective, and I know we both have different stories that we can share.
Yeah.
Personally, I mean, a few years ago, I attended a conference in Mali. And upon arriving in Mali, I realized that my luggage was not there. And upon inquiring about it, I was told that the next flight to Mali would be in 3 days. So you can imagine the stress and the panic. However, I went to the conference and I told my hosts about my situation. But what was comforting and worth sharing is that when I was sitting in my hotel room, still pondering on what to do with my situation, I had a knock at the door, and it was my host. And they walked in with different outfits which I could try on and choose from. And let me just say, by the time they left, I had enough outfits for the whole conference. And that left something to me. And it is these stories that have been, that we've been sharing over time, that, you know what, it has to be something that we as South Africans can also be known about. We already are known as people of Ubuntu, which is something that we also had an experience of outside the country. And we thought that perhaps let's start with these awards, where we really actually recognize and celebrate the immigrants and refugees who are making a positive impact into our economy.
And how often would you like these awards to be held? Are we talking about an annual kind of event or biannual event?
It's definitely going to be an annual event.
Yeah.
And perhaps just to share though, this is not just an award. So yes, this year we're just doing an evening. We're recognizing and celebrating these immigrants and refugees. But we're hoping that after the awards, we're then able to have round tables where we can actually invite the immigrant community together with our locals and our government to actually have open discussions about the different challenges from an immigrant perspective, but also from government and from us. And I think the journey that we've traveled so far has just been such an enlightening journey, because we've had meetings with different groups of immigrants in South Africa, and some of the information that we got to know about is stuff that we actually wouldn't have known had we not embarked on this particular journey. I'll give you an example. For example, we all know of Pakistan people. We had an opportunity to meet with the Pakistan South Africa Association, for example. And amongst talking to them, one of the things that they highlighted is that amongst the programs that they run as a community, be it food, be it blankets, but they also have their own doctors who have performed more than 10,000 free operations in South Africa. I mean, for us, we were actually pleasantly surprised. But it is such stories that we actually want to raise awareness of, because on an ordinary basis and on a South African basis, when you say Pakistan, the first thing that people would ordinarily think of is those guys that are actually taking over our shops in the townships and running businesses. But the positive element is not known. And we're hoping that these awards will actually raise such awareness of the amazing contributions that the immigrants are making in our community.
Absolutely. This is Channel Africa from an African perspective, reverberating all across Africa and beyond. If you have just joined us tonight, I am in conversation with Tebo Wanjang and Linda Ben. We are talking about all the things to do with Alkebulan Immigrant Awards that have just been launched. Tebo, talk to me about the challenges that immigrants are facing here in South Africa.
I think more than anything, immigrants want to feel at home. I think the choice of immigration is not one made with ease. And I think I always say to people that the movement of people is a universal phenomenon, and I think it's a concept that started from the creation of time. Whether people move because of environmental challenges, or they move because of war, or they move because of economic needs, people have always been moving. And I think when you move, there is that uncertainty of how you'll be received and also how you would fit in. And I think the reason why we are doing the awards more than anything is to communicate to the communities that, yes, people come from far or they come from near, but more than anything else, they're human beings. More than anything, all they long for is to be welcomed. All they long for is to belong. And I think the awards for us is to create an environment, to create a message, to say, listen, South Africa is an amazing place. We are a welcoming place. We appreciate people's contributions. We recognize their contributions. And more than anything, we are willing to listen to understand where they come from. Because I think the biggest challenge often is listening to the immigrant story. I mean, the story often is of war, of chaos, of broken promises. But not every immigrant that you find in Joburg comes from a war-ridden society. Or not every immigrant you find comes from a society where there is no water. There are people who are here who were trained in Harvard, who were trained at Oxford, who were trained in the best universities in Africa, and they are here on visas that were approved or given to them by the government. And these people are not just doctors at Helen Joseph. They finish their work and they go into the communities and they do amazing things. So I think the immigrant challenge for me is a one of creating a space where they can feel at home. And I think if we can do that, this award can do that, then we've done our bit. And I think then government would handle the other legal complications, the other legal implications. Those are, that you leave them for government to handle. For us as a team, I think, having traveled and having been received in different countries in the world, there's one thing South Africa is known for, and it's Ubuntu. We are a receptive nation. And I think if we can expand on that receptiveness and make sure that every encounter, be it with a tourist, be it with an immigrant, be it with a refugee, is one of reception, trust me, we would go a long way.
And of course, talking about the government, it will be important for you to partner with the government to make sure that all of the loopholes are tied with regard to the presence of anyone who is in the country, not only here in South Africa, but across all countries on the African continent as well. I think the partnership of government's involvement in initiatives such as these ones are very key. But talk to me about the kind of contributions that you are looking for. What would constitute positive contributions? Because I heard you talking about positive contributions, but what would constitute those contributions here?
I actually like that question, and perhaps I should also just highlight that the awards are about impact, and they're not necessarily excellent award. So I'll make an example. Say, for example, in sport, you probably are the best soccer player. We are not looking at that as what you do in soccer, but we're looking at what is it that you do outside soccer. Because the industry, the soccer fraternity would have already named you the best soccer player and acknowledged you for that. But besides that, are you helping any youngsters there, training them in soccer skills? Are there any clinics that you're running whenever you have time or in different communities to really empower those young people and to almost pay it forward? So that's what we're looking for.
So it's all about the impact.
The impact is what we're looking for and not excellence. And most of us have had teachers who have taught us, like from different countries, either from Ghana or from wherever. They've taught us in our particular schools. But beyond that, is that teacher the kind of teacher that would then run a Saturday school for maths within the community, or a winter school? At least that's what we would call it. I'm just showing my age there, but it's okay. But that is what we're looking for, the impact. So it has nothing to do with the education or the class, but more than anything else, it's about what is it that you do with your own spare time, your own resources to empower the community that you're in.
Debo, what kind of a reaction are you expecting to come out of these awards? Because like you said, these are the first of their kind awards to be held here in South Africa. What kind of a reaction are you expecting to come as a result of you hosting these awards?
I think we've been surprised, I must be honest. We've met with different communities. I think this week we were meeting with the Chinese community, and we had a very profound experience where the Chinese community we were meeting with, there was a lady that was mentioned. I'm not going to mention her name, but she was nominated because we've been receiving nominations. And we were told of the amazing work she does in a community in Malvern, where I've never been to Malvern. I've lived here for 22 years. But we were told of the sacrifice, the discipline it takes for her to set up the initiative she set up in Malvern. And I think the reception has been amazing. We've had people calling from every part of the country to nominate.
Wow.
So it tells you that, and I think that's one thing we've recognized, that as South Africans, we are able to identify social impact. We recognize the difference people are making in our lives. And I think for us, more than anything else, this award is all about that. So the reception has been positive. I think we need more. We need people to nominate more. We need corporates to come on board. We need government support. We literally are looking to to make this award a blueprint for how immigrants in every country are treated and how they're received. Because if something works in South Africa, it's a given it would work across the continent. So that, I think we are aware of that, and I think we are excited more than anything else that people really come to like they are people who are making change. I mean, for myself and Linda, I think because we are social impact driven, we know what social impact is. We're able to identify what social impact is. But when you go into the Pakistani community, you meet the Nigerian community, you meet the Congolese community, and people tell you of doctors who don't just focus on their work, but weekends they go into communities, they talk to young girls about menstrual health. That is what we're looking for. And we are getting people reaching out to us and nominating people. And I think we want more nominations because the more people nominate, the better we build the story. And the more the stories are told, the more we can change the perception. So I think we expect more, and we want more to come on board so that we can be able to narrate our story better as a continent.
All right. Linda, the nomination process is open until when?
Until the end of the month.
This month?
Yes, end of September. And then we will then make an announcement of those who have been shortlisted, and then people can actually get into a voting mode. They vote for their best nominee from the shortlist, and then on the 23rd of November, that's where we will have the actual awards here in Johannesburg.
Okay.
And we're expecting to have an awesome event.
23rd of November.
23rd of November. We will definitely dress up. We will be ready to be entertained by different groups, entertainment groups from different cultures and communities. And we'll listen to very renowned speakers and really get to celebrate the immigrants who are doing their part within our beautiful South Africa.
And how many nominees are you looking for?
So we have 18 categories.
18
that is a lot.
It's a lot.
And from that 18, 16 are purely for immigrants and refugees, and only 2 of them are actually for South Africans. And I mean, we thought of this, that, you know what, at the end of the day, the immigrants, they land in South Africa and are received by South Africans, and so certain individuals within South Africans, they play a role in providing an enabling environment for these immigrants. And so the 2 categories are for that individual who has played a role in welcoming these immigrants, and the second one is for an organization that is supportive to them.
So let me come to you, Matebo. From your experience having crisscrossed the lengths and breadths of this continent, Matebo, you know, getting to know the experiences of so many people who are living in different countries across the African continent, are you getting a sense that perhaps global bodies such as the United Nations are letting immigrants down? Because we do have institutions such as the UNHCR, whose mandate is to protect and take the interests of immigrants, refugees that are living across the globe. Are you getting a sense that perhaps these bodies are letting immigrants down?
No, I think I was laughing because this week actually we were in liaison with the UNHCR office. Yes, and I think I am aware of the challenges that they face. I am aware of the needs of the people that are moving across borders. And I'm also aware of the limited resources. That it's easy to sit in a chair in Joburg in the evening and say they're not doing enough. But I can also say that a lot more can be done by the governments. I think the movement of people is not new. I think we cannot. What is more challenging is the reason why people move. When people move because of conflict, they move with nothing. I mean, they literally are running out of their houses with nothing. And I think then it's cumbersome for the states that are receiving them to cater for them. But I'm aware that there's a lot of work being done. I know there are challenges, there's legal challenges, there's resource challenges. But I think, listen, they're doing the best they can do. They could do more. And I think, I mean, when you read their papers, when you read the reports that they produce, they acknowledge their own limitations.
Sure.
And they do want to do more. And I think they will do more. And I think with our awards, I think the one thing this award does is that we are hoping to create discussion forums where you don't design a solution for people design their own solutions. And I think that's what I learned in JCI, that if you want to solve a problem, there is a community that decides how the solution would work. And I think structures like the UN-based structures that manage immigration and all that, they are certainly aware of this, that it's immigrants, refugees would be better assisted with them being at the table, because they are able to then take part in the discussion.
Sure.
Yes.
I think you should also collaborate with organizations such as the African Diaspora Forum. I'm not sure if you know organizations like those. Those are the organizations that are looking after the interests of migrants, immigrants here in South Africa. It will be great for you guys to link up with them, because I think they are doing an amazing work in terms of fighting for the rights of immigrants. You spoke about the date of the awards, which is the 23rd of November.
Yes.
Have you worked out the program in terms of who are the actual people, keynote speakers who will be at the the awards, or you're still working on that?
We've sent out invitations and are hoping to get responses soon.
Yeah.
I think the guest speakers that we're looking at, when we get that confirmation, everybody will be like, it was obvious.
Yes.
He would actually make the best key speaker. So we're quite excited about that, and we can't wait to get that. We should be getting it soon. But what we've also done in preparation for the awards, we've reached out to the different embassies, because we're talking about different communities, and it was important for us to have the embassies know about the initiative, and also for the dissemination of the information to the different communities of that particular country. And the reception has been amazing.
Wow.
We're meeting with the Dean of the Diplomatic Corps next week, and everything is just it's exciting, because we're seeing ourselves having discussions with people that we never really thought of. But what's been encouraging is just the warm reception from everybody that we've interacted with so far.
How many attendees are you expecting, and what is your ideal venue for these awards?
We
Maybe Tebo should take that one.
We are our, and this is the thing. I think we sent in our office that the estimated immigrant population sits at between 3 million and 3.2 million legal immigrants. Those that are legal in the country.
Yeah.
So if we can get 0.01% of that, so we're looking at having maximum 450 people, so that it becomes an event where people who come there are able to celebrate it, are able to enjoy it, are able to network, and are able to tell the story of the award. There will be a live broadcast. I think, yes, it will be an event where it will be just 450 people seated, but there will be live broadcasts. The idea is to broadcast it to the rest of the world, because the word Akebulan, it's a unique phrase. I think most people say to us, why Akebulan? Akebulan is the birth of humanity.
So that's what it means?
Yes, the birth of humanity, yes.
Oh, I see.
So where did humanity start? It's Africa. So the Akebulan Immigrants Award is celebrating social impact by immigrants. The first of its kind in the world. Everywhere they celebrate excellence. We are celebrating immigrants for their social contribution to society where they find themselves. So we are looking at having 4 150 people at the ceremony. Tickets will be sold. Tickets are being sold. The event will be at the Fortress. The Fortress in Edenville in Joburg. And the reason why that venue was chosen is because if you look at our dynamics, we are dealing with approximately 75 foreign communities in South Africa with different cultural groups, different cultural ambience, different cultural attire. If you have to bring that dynamics into a venue, you need a space that can cater for the different types of entertainment that would happen there.
Sure. How much is the ticket?
The ticket for an individual is 1,200.
Okay.
But we're also selling tables to corporates. We're planning an intimate event.
Like a special,
this is not a festival
unique
yet.
event. Yeah.
Yes. We're not there yet. We'll do that.
Okay.
But so we're looking at 1,200 for an individual and a discounted rate of 10,000 per table for a community table or corporate table. And I just want to also just highlight from what Tebo said, in case we get anybody confused.
Yes.
He was unpacking the name Alkebulan, but the actual awards are not just for immigrants within the African continent. These awards are for anybody who was born outside South Africa but is living in South Africa legally. Those are the two criteria that we're looking for the people to be nominated. So you could be from the US, from China, from Europe, anywhere else, as long as you were not born here.
Of course. And then you mentioned that the nomination process is ongoing at the moment. For those who are listening to this conversation and they would like to nominate. How can they go about doing that?
Okay, so please go to our website. The website is ai-impactawards.co.za. And then you can click nominations. Then that's where you'll get all the information that you need to know. But it's very basic. We just need the name of the person that you are nominating together with the reasons of why you're nominating them.
So that website again is www.ai-impactawards.co.za. Any parting shot, your last word as we wrap up this conversation?
Well, I think it's Africa's time. I think people tell you it's Africa's time a lot, but we are at the birth of a new continent. There's a lot of vibrance, a lot of youth, there's a lot of energy. This award is to celebrate that. It's to celebrate the coming together in South Africa of immigrants. It is to celebrate the Chinese, the Australians, the Canadians, the Japanese, the Brazilians, the immigrants who have chosen South Africa to be home.
Yeah.
It is to say to them, we recognize you, we appreciate you, and we love you. And to anyone out there who is listening to us, visit our website, go to our social media pages. We are on Facebook, we are on YouTube, we are on LinkedIn, we are on Twitter, we're on Instagram. Like us, follow us, nominate whoever you've come across in your community who is doing amazing things. And more especially for those South Africans who have created a conducive environment. And I think it's very important that we lay emphasis on this, that we need to show appreciation to the South Africans who have created a space where immigrants can feel at home. Nominate them. Let's also celebrate them, because there isn't any home without a host.
Of course.
So let's celebrate the host. For me, that's very important.
Sure.
Thank you.
I think we all know of that non-South African who is making a positive impact there. It could be in our communities. It could be at our workplaces. Let's recognize them and let's celebrate them. And then together, let's build bridges and create opportunities for partnerships, mentorships, and knowledge sharing. Thank you.
Tebo and Linda, it has been a pleasure having you on the show tonight. Thank you so much, and all the best with the awards.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having us.
That podcast was courtesy of Channel Africa, the African Perspective.